So the Mail has got an exclusive interview with the Culture Secretary, and the headline is this: now ban trans women from female sports. Andy, what do you think of that?
I think it's political opportunism. Look, with the sports question, the trans friends that I have, they don't speak for all trans people, the trans friends that I have feel very concerned about how this sports issue and a couple of other issues are being used to demonise trans people generally, as though they are not just people wanting to get on with their lives. Most trans people are not elite sports people. Most trans people are just wanting to go to work, do their jobs, get on with their lives without their identities being splashed across the papers and hate being encouraged by a government that's desperate to try and win votes.
So the Mail has the picture of Leah Thomas, who was born male, who's become a champion swimmer as a trans athlete. Do you think, Selma, that Leah should be competing among women?
So I think that this idea of ban and this question of sort of the hardline media line that's coming out on this actually takes away what Luzy Frazer is saying, which is a lot less dramatic and is about actually creating some equivalence in various different sports to give people clarity on who can compete and who can't.
But should trans women compete against
for my personal
biological
view,
women?
I think that there should be parity with what happens in cycling and swimming, and that there is a clear demarcation for what is female sport that is influenced by shape and size. And so I think it's important.
So you think you agree on a ban?
But I don't think it is. It's not about banning, and I don't want to use that word because I think that puts heat into this situation where there doesn't need to be.
There's quite a lot anyway.
I think there should be clarity on the fact of what Luzy Frazer is saying, and that is providing clear guidance so we actually know who can compete in certain sports.
OK, what about prisons, Andy?
Well,
It's elite sport, prisons, and women-only spaces like restrooms and hostels. Those three areas.
So in the case of prisons, if you are a trans woman, if you lived as a trans woman, the evidence is that the risk to other women in women's prisons is not necessarily trans women or cisgender women. It is the fact that there is a lack of security in prisons and safety generally. And of course, if someone is attacked, whether it's by a cis woman or by a trans woman, then that's a failing of the system.
Gosh, OK, we're not going to get anywhere with this story, are we? People don't want to really talk about this story at all. You don't. I can tell you, nobody wants to talk about it.
I'll tell you why people don't want to talk about it, and it's precisely for this reason, is that you're trying to set groups against each other. Or not you per se.
We're literally talking about what's in the papers.
I think the fact is the discussion has become so toxic that actually you can't have a reasonable discussion about this issue.
As we've just discovered, yeah.
And actually putting more heat into the situation by saying, do you agree with X or Y? And you can only exist in these two groups, I think makes it harder for you to have that conversation.
OK, I surrender.